You're listening to the podcast that's right, about nothing. Available on YouTube, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.com. Welcome to another episode of the podcast about nothing, and this is a very special episode because we have a guest from two exciting worlds, the adult video world and focus of our podcast today, the video gaming world and the radio broadcasting world, Miss Alana Evans. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Oh, so far, so good. Thank you for agreeing to be on. It's always a crapshoot for me whenever I ask people. So.
Absolutely. Well, when someone's got a show that's about nothing, that works.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was just strategically picked title. So, turned out 5 other podcasts own it already, but...
Oh, that's funny.
And 3 of them are about Seinfeld, but...
That's hilarious. Of course they are.
Yeah, didn't even dawn on me when I picked it out. But my original request was because I saw that you are a gamer and owner, I'm assuming, I think,
yes,
of PwnedByGirls.com. And before we go into that, we were talking offline. Can you explain to people like me who are too lazy to look for things what pwned means and came from?
You know, your statement of being too lazy to even Google something, that makes you such a millennial.
I wish I was. I'm not even. That's a bad
right, exactly. But that's their way of thinking. So basically, pwned came from an error during a video game. It's punked and owned blended together, and that's what someone meant to say, but it switched it out to pwned. And so it stuck. And it's so funny because you know, you'll get people who have no idea how to say it. They don't know what it means, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, a different little techie term. And then I've got people who know exactly what it is, who, you know, laugh and all that. So I'm a nerd. I am one of those girls that what you see is not what you get because, you know, I'm in this package with the blonde hair and the big boobs and, you know, the bright, beautiful teeth from the 5 years of dental work as a child. I hate dentists, but I put off of this, you know, a different attitude that no one would know that I spend all of my hours on my computer playing video games, on one of my consoles playing video games, reading about video games that are coming out. I'm obsessed. So years ago, back in 2011, webcamming was really becoming popular, and this is before Twitch TV. It was a little site called Justin TV that I had never heard of, and I wanted a way to, you know, interact with my fans differently than the typical chatting on social media. And I like webcamming, but you know, the whole interaction, being naked, just being told what to do, sometimes it doesn't work for me. I get bored. It's got to be interesting. So my idea was to play video games and have my fans watch me. And this wasn't a thing at the time. No one was doing this. And when we launched the site, our first show was September 20th, 2011. It's like a monumental day to me. I played Gears of War with a couple of my girlfriends, and that day literally goes down in history. In a matter of 2 days, before we even streamed, my poor little site, which was just a splash page, received more than 5 million hits. My site crashed, and then I realized what I had, a complete gem, and ever since, it's been amazing. It's been an incredible path. You know, my friends make fun of me. They say I'm really good at finding ways to make money for things that are just way too much fun, like, you know, sex and video games and all that. So.
I mean, that's pretty much, I would say, 90% of males' fantasies way to make money.
Right?
Myself included.
I feel totally blessed. That's such a weird thing for a porn star to say, but...
Aye, for sure.
It's real.
I mean, it's the best of both worlds for most people. But I was going to say... yeah, I remember Justin TV. I'm old enough for that. But
Yes.
I'll be one of those people, I'll be totally honest with you, where when I first saw stuff like that, I was like, how can people sit there and watch someone else play a video game? Meanwhile, here I am on my friend's couch watching him play a game.
Yes.
You know, it didn't dawn on me to connect the two. So you have like a very, you're almost like a futurist. You're like a female Tony Stark sitting up
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm always looking for, new ideas and, it's fun to think that at different times in my life, I am my own innovator. I like that. And then it's way more fun to watch all of the people who jump on that bandwagon after. That's the best part. And, there's a lot of girls in porn that are really gamers that is what they do all day long. Mina Rose, her and I have this weird love hate, mostly hate for some reason relationship, but I always give her credit. She was the first porn star to make it known that she was a gamer, and her fans ate it up. They loved that about her. They loved knowing that she was a pretty girl, but she was smart too. And I've been playing video games since 2600 when Nintendo didn't exist. We've got
right?
Atari, and my favorite game on that was Indiana Jones, so.
I don't even know if I had Indiana. I had Pac-Man was the one my dad
Of
brought home.
course.
I remember losing my shit when he pulled up in the car and had the box was huge.
Yes.
And then I was like, I can't wait. We ran. I just dropped my friends. Like back then we called it flat leaving. I was like in the middle of something. I was like, "Poof, fuck you guys, and I just
Yeah.
dropped like the ball in the street and walked back into my house. And then my mom and dad didn't even let me play it for like the first 3 hours because they were too busy playing it.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah. So even back then I was watching other people play a game because I was like begging her to
Aw.
beg me, like letting to let me play. But it wasn't. And then the 5200 came out and it actually looked like the Pac-Man arcade game.
Yeah, it was better. It wasn't
Yeah.
just a couple of strange blips on the screen that didn't really quite form lines. Like everything had to have that weird, awkward 8-bit C-shaped corner, you know?
Yeah, there were no
y-
smooth edges or anything.
yeah, exactly. But I remember how excited I was. I remember when my best friend next to me, got a Nintendo before I did, and I used to beg my parents to let me go to her house so we could play Duck Hunt or, Super Mario Brothers. And of course, A Link to the Past is my favorite. I actually, to this day, I have a custom made NES console that some friends of mine, this awesome site, Games You Loved, they hooked me up. It's a cute little pink Princess Peach, aka, Princess Toadstool, NES that plays all the old stuff. It's rebuilt, it's
Oh, okay.
refurbished, the controllers are half pink, it's
Oh,
adorable.
wow.
And I've got my collection of original, NES games, and the gold Link to the Past is part of that collection. It's sacred.
I think Nintendo is releasing something similar to that right now. I think they're calling it the Nintendo Classic.
Yes, what it is, it's basically, you'd been able to buy them before with Atari, where it's a little box you can plug into your TV that has all of these old Atari games stored onto it. So Nintendo finally caught up. Probably all the money they're making off of Pokemon Go. So
Oh, yeah, they're
basically,
making that off. Well, I proudly have not spent any money on it yet.
neither have I, thank God. Although, wow, I am definitely walking a lot. I'm really, but it doesn't count, it's not a real game. That's what people want to say, but I think it's awesome. People are exercising. They're finding dead bodies. They're falling off of cliffs.
Yeah, getting into traffic.
Exactly. Like it's crazy. But so the Nintendo box has 30 old school NES games. So it's coming out, I believe, right before Christmas, and guaranteed that's going to be like the hot ticket item this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it will be because I look back at some of them and I'm like, bah, I can't believe. I mean, I don't even know how to put it. Back then, I remember when the 5200 came out in Atari and it had a pause button.
Yes.
I thought that was like Star Trek. So I was sitting there and I was like, it's never going to get any better than this. And every time a new game came out, it was like, or Nintendo came, I didn't have it. My friend Dave had it on our block, and same thing. I would never went to his house before, but once he had that, I was like the furniture in his house. And
Oh, most popular kid in the
oh
neighborhood.
yeah, and it had that robot that came with. I don't understand how that thing worked, but it had the first Nintendo came with the gun, the robot,
Yeah.
and I still don't know what the hell that robot was supposed
That's a
to do.
good point. Neither do I. Maybe it was just cool. I don't even know.
Yeah, it
But
was a. Oh, go ahead.
did you ever play with the pressure pads for the track and field.
Oh yeah, I remember those. He didn't have
Running.
another friend of mine. Yeah, and I mean, so many things were interactive back then, and then that just sort of fell off a cliff for a while.
It
And
did.
and
I mean, they had the pads for, I think I had it for my PlayStation 2, and it was like the Dance Dance Central game, something like that. And I actually still have them because they're super awesome. You can't throw away something like that. But yeah, they've got all the arrows on them, and they're these big giant squares. And I actually have two, so you could do the two-player dancing. I have way too much stuff.
wow. You can have a museum video game
Right?
one day.
Exactly. Except I wouldn't want to let anybody over. I'd be like, don't touch anything.
Yeah, that's how I am. I mean, I ended up, I sold them. I mean, comic books and a lot of knickknacks and stuff, especially when we moved out here. So I just didn't want to
Nice.
ship it all. Now I just have some stuff on a shelf, those little Funko guys, with the big heads.
Okay, I am obsessed with Funko Pops.
Ah, good. I feel better.
That's my weakness. I think I have 44 in my collection right now.
Oh, wow.
It takes up an entire wall.
I've got a decent amount. I wouldn't, let's see, 36. Because I got a lot of them from Loot Crate.
Yes,
And then,
Loot Crate is awesome.
Yes, and the Marvel Collectors Corp or something.
Oh, you are a nerd too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Since
That-
I was born.
Yes, that isn't it? And it's so funny that being a nerd became cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a matter of time. I
Right.
guess. I mean, it was a long time, but when I was a kid, you were just sequestered in the corner if you read comic books or something.
Yeah. No, you were weird. Nobody wanted to. But see, I didn't mind that. I was, as a girl, you couldn't really, like, your parents wouldn't buy you comic books. I had to beg my mom to actually buy me G.I. Joe figures because I liked playing with boys' toys and girls' toys. I mean, it kind of explains a lot of my sexuality. But, having comic books was something that as a girl, you didn't really do that. You were really confused or, definitely way too much of a tomboy if you were reading comics. So I had to do it secretly. Just
Yeah.
like you, I had to do it when no one was looking.
Well, I had like hand-me-down comics. I would only, because my brother had them. They weren't mine. I was too young to get my own. And they would just cost too much. Imagine, back then they cost too much compared to
Yes.
now. And oh my God, I think about it now, all the classic comics I must have destroyed because there were no toys. The kids take advantage, or granted, all these action figures and toys for comics.
Right.
But this is like 1982. So I
Yeah.
used to figure, hey, I'm reading this Fantastic Four comic. It's probably worth like $300 now. But I used to cut the characters out of the comic book.
Oh my gosh! You would make your own little paper dolls, wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
My own little action figures.
Because paper dolls were a thing back then.
Oh, yeah.
So that's actually pretty creative. I remember the first action figures that I got my hands on because the G.I. Joe toys were probably I was actually almost in junior high school. Yeah. Wow, what does that say about me?
Oh, I was in the same boat. Probably.
Yeah. I was playing with Star Wars toys,
Mhm.
and I remember having the giant Millennial Falcon that had all the little compartments, and you could put the
figures
action
in it.
figures. They were so cool. They
Yeah.
were so cool.
I had the G.I. Joes. I had the G.I. Joe base and the hovercraft, but I never got the aircraft carrier. That was like the golden ring I was, wanted to get, and I never got it because it was about $100 back then.
Right.
God knows what it costs now, but
Yeah. I was too busy getting Barbie houses at that point. I didn't want another Barbie house. Give me Hot Wheels, please.
oh yeah, that stinks when you have the relatives and they just assume, oh, you're a girl, you want girl stuff.
Everybody thought my favorite color was purple. I hated purple.
Uh-huh.
It
What
was
is-
blue.
Blue, there you go.
Yeah, but now as an adult, I'm obsessed with pink, so that makes no sense at all.
Well, I mean, back then I just took blue as default, but now it's purple. And it was funny because that was one of the questions, when they do the bridal shower or,
Yes.
and, my wife's friend at the time, well, still her friend, she said, hey, send me some questions to ask Jessie, during this thing, and what should we make her drink? I was like, just make her drink water because she doesn't drink, and she's going to get them all wrong anyway. I was teasing her. And
That's funny.
one of them was like, what's my favorite color? And she got it wrong.
Oh.
It's like, since when? This is your favorite color now, so it's not anymore. But
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, trends kind of change.
yeah. Well, no, it's always been that. She just never asked. But what are you gonna
Oh
do? But
no, ouch.
yeah, I know. I love teasing her about it. But comic book wise, yeah, I used to cut up my brother's comics, so he tried to beat me to death. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna. And then there was one comic. I mean, we'll get back to games in a second, but I
Yeah.
bought it at the store, and it was $2.50. And when I got home, my mom almost stabbed me to death and made me She brought me all the way back to the store, and made the guy give me my money back because I spent $2.50 on a comic book.
Oh my gosh, that's awful. And you were probably so happy.
I was mortified. Yeah, and then eventually she like I don't know, I ended up getting to go back and buy it anyway. But
Yeah, she must have felt bad. You probably cried.
yeah, it was X-Men 140 back when there was only one X-Men, and
Wow.
now I don't know how much it's worth now, but it was just such a fiasco.
And
And
you're
now
scarred
yeah, Scarlet
forever.
yeah, I was like, no, when I have money, I'm buying them all. I was like me at the top of the mountain shaking my fist.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's like $5 for a comic.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
It's crazy.
A cup of coffee, which is insane.
Yeah, a cup of coffee's
Or
for
like 3 candy bars.
yeah, they were like 65 cents back then, and that was only 250 because it was quote unquote like worth something. You're drawn by somebody really good, John Byrne, and
Oh, wow,
it was like
nice.
the first I think or second time Wolverine had that brown costume on,
Yes,
so it made it worth 250 back then. But
absolutely.
who knows? So I always thought video games would be like that. I guess they are. If you could find a classic video game that nobody else can, you could get money for it.
Oh, definitely. And, there's a store out by where I live here in the great San Fernando Valley, the capital of porn, called Game Dude. And they have everything, every generation of video games. They have a full list of the different video game itself, the cartridges. You can get Sega, Nintendo, Dreamcast. If you can think of it and it existed, you're probably going to find it there. And then the great thing about them is they also have like a repair shop. So if you've got an old console that you're having issues with, you can drop it off and they can totally fix it for you. So I love this store. I love these guys because it's seriously like my happy little quiet space. I put a hat on. Nobody notices me in there. Otherwise, I get stared at like crazy. And they're like, what is this chick doing here? Because I act like a little kid in there bouncing around, super excited. Oh, look at what I found today. So, yeah, the boobs doing that and the blonde hair guys are totally confused. And
Yeah, they probably run away or start follow you from a distance. That's
exactly.
one or the other. Yeah.
I'm known at my local GameStop. Those dudes are my homies.
Oh, that's cool. When I take Jessie to Comic-Con, she's always like clutching my arm. These guys will see her walk by like, oh, a girl.
Yes.
Like a little crowd starts to follow her. But
yeah,
she's a little better at it now.
Aww.
We have a couple of, well, I say I'm not in New York anymore, but there are a few stores like that, and all the names are, there's one near St. Mark's Place, and it's like a museum, but it's a store. And they had, because I used to have a Sega Saturn. That was how I first got online with a NetLink.
Right.
That was the first time I got on the internet, was using that.
Wow.
Yeah, so every time and it had, they called it chipping, but I don't think, they didn't even do that. It was just that the cartridge slot was shaped one way for America and another way for Japan.
Right.
And so I'd get this adapter or something like that. And they always had because I'm a pro wrestling nerd too, they always had the best games that they were Japanese.
Yes.
So there's a whole generation of guys, I guess, that know how to read Japanese because you had to read the instructions on these games.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the only one I could read. I could read wrestling terms, nothing else. But like,
that's funny.
Fire Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then I had the Dreamcast. I bought a Dreamcast specifically to get New Japan Pro Wrestling 4, and I had to get the Japanese one because it wasn't out in America, and that was the only game I had on it.
That's dedication.
It really
right
was.
there.
If I think back at it now, it's like, wow, I've been saying that machine was like $400 back then.
Oh yeah, they were really expensive. I remember the first disc drive console was the 3DO, and of course, I had to have one of those. My ex and I probably saved up a couple weeks' paychecks so that we could buy games at the same time. And back then, the games were so expensive. I mean, not that they aren't now, but they were so pricey that you would do your best to find them used. The games that I would find in these little toy stores, the like action figure stores, the comic book shops, were very different than what I would find at, say, back then it was it was Electronic Boutique. It wasn't GameStop. Like, that's how long
Yeah, I
I have
remember that
been.
store.
That's how you know. That's my gamer credential right there. I've been shopping there since it was
Electronic
Electronics
Boutique.
Boutique.
Yeah.
Exactly. But so this tiny little, it was almost seedy. If you could call a comic book shop seedy, it was a strange place. I bought this game for my 3DO that you could basically make the girls strip, and you could dress them up in different forms of lingerie. And it wasn't like she was a character, or animated. It was really a scan of an actual girl. And that was something that was so impressive with 3DO when it came out. And then it blew my mind, was because these games looked like actual people, like I was watching my television screen. It wasn't,
Right.
64-bit or any of that stuff. So, but the best one was Night Trap.
I was about to ask about that. When that was the
Oh,
one that
heck
Dana
yeah!
Plato was she in that?
Yes! I
Okay.
loved that game. Oh, you were such a perv because you were spying and trying to help them because they're like having this sorority panty party, and then, you're watching from these cameras, clicking from room to room. So I was a total perv.
At first, I thought that was the game you were describing. I didn't know about the stripped down one,
Oh
but
yeah, no,
I knew Night Trap. It was so controversial.
it was so
Came out.
great though. It
Yeah,
was,
it
and
was.
it was creepy. At some point, you've got these people breaking in and trying to like kidnap the girls. It definitely can put images into people's head that maybe they shouldn't be thinking.
If that
But
came out today, it would be a fiasco if it came out today.
you know what? Actually, yes, but porn pushes so many limits these days that I'm like, wow, is anyone paying attention anymore?
Oh, yeah, got a point there. I mean, especially the custom ones. So, I read up on all kinds of crap depending on what guests I get. And I know there's a big market just for send us in your idea and we'll make a movie out of it. And it could be anything, literally anything.
Yes. Yeah. There was this awful website, and I'm not even going to mention the name because I'm not going to give them credit, but the girls would be sleeping. They would, pretend to be asleep, and the guys would have sex with them. And I'm like, oh my God, wait a minute. Do you guys realize what you're showing
Yeah,
everyone?
yeah.
Yeah, that site didn't last very long and it
Ooh,
got pulled.
I would hope so. But yeah, there's an audience for anything.
Yes.
Um, but like you said, I remember Electronic Boutique, and then for me, it was just a flea market by my house. There was a guy that had a booth, and he dedicated it to video games
That's awesome.
and comic books, and I sold him like an idiot all my GI Joe men, like $2 a shot. I remember whenever I wanted to buy more comics, I would sell them for it.
Oh,
I must
that
have,
is so.
yeah, I must have stocked his whole entire GI Joe section.
You know what the best part is? I just picture you as a little kid with all your toys shoved in your pockets, and when mom's not looking,
Yeah,
selling them
selling
off
them.
to him.
Seriously. Or games too. I used to sell Nintendo tapes, cartridges, I guess, so I could
Yeah.
buy a new one. And it was always for some wrestling game. There was this game, Tecmo or something, Pro
Yes.
Wrestling. And at the time,
Tecmo was amazing.
yeah, they were amazing. So and I had some games I convinced myself I didn't want anymore, and I would stuff them all into my coat and then walk out to the booth.
Exactly, like a
And
peeper.
I would walk into his booth like 3 times my normal size. He's like, "Oh, what do you got?" And he would
Yeah.
he would just buy them off me. Like, back then I would hate to say it, but his exchange rate was probably better than GameStop's is right now.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. It's corporate greed.
Holy crap. You trade in 5 discs at GameStop, you get like $12.
But then they go back on the shelf for like $40
Yeah.
each.
Well, I could see them marking it up to make money, but a used game is like $3 less than a brand new one.
Yeah.
Why do you even bother?
Exactly. And at least with the brand new one, you're getting something that hasn't been scratched or touched or somebody's crummy
Yeah.
little fingerprints on them.
It's true. Now, what I don't like is, I do it, but I download it directly to the PS4 or something like that.
I know.
And then I realized, because I sold my DS XL or something a few weeks ago, and I was like, man, I thought I had more games in this, and I realized they were downloaded.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My library is ridiculous. But, and then I get mad at myself like, damn it, I can't trade these games in because they're, a download. But then I found an awesome little loophole because I've got 2 consoles in my house, one in my living room that I play on. And then I bought one for my stepson. If we put our gamer tags on both, If I buy a game on his and download it to his, if his
Uh,
gamer tag's on my console, I can download it onto mine. Thus, we can both play at the same time.
oh, that's cool.
That's awesome. So that kind of makes up for it if you have multiple gamers in the house.
Did they try to limit like where you could put? I think they were talking about it.
Yes, they did. They tried. And I'm sure it is set up though that what with PlayStation, they want you to choose a home Xbox. So if I took my PS4 somewhere else, it might not necessarily let me keep playing it if I don't keep logging back into that profile that I downloaded it with. So
Oh, okay.
I find ways to get around it.
See, I never really did that. I mean, as much as maybe after like the Nintendo years and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Well,
rare
there
that
are
I
no
have to,
more.
you know,
There's no more two-player games.
yeah, that's the thing. My wife gets so pissed because she doesn't really like 3D games that much.
Yes.
So she loves fighting games, you know, because they're easy to smash the button.
Yes.
But
Injustice.
yeah, stuff like that. Well, that she liked because it was like Mortal Kombat. Well, same
Yes.
creators, you know, never
Yep.
saw whatever. So I remember we bought it, but we hardly ever sit down and play it. But
Oh, it's the best to have couple battles over fight games. You know, my dude and I will play and it gets so heated because, you know, I am the champion in the house. Let's be real. I will murder everybody here. So about 3, 4, 5 games in, I kind of start to feel bad. But now they're finally warmed up. So it'll finally get to a place where I've actually got some competition after they've been playing. And then they'll, you know, I'll let them get here and there. But, we will fight. We will absolutely fight over it. The best part was fighting over Pokemon Go because, you know, we got the bug the first few days and we walked around, but my GPS on my phone wasn't syncing properly. So he's finding Pokemon and I'm not. I'm starting to get really
oh wow,
pissed, right? I'm getting mad. And so, you know, we see other families walking. They're all doing the same thing. Everybody that we saw on the street had their phone in their hand looking for Pokemon. So later that night, this is hilarious. We get in the car. We're like, hey, let's go look for some Pokemon. We are these people driving around at 9:30 at night. Now, I am co-pilot, Pokemon catcher. So I am in my passenger seat. He's driving. I got both phones in my hand. And finally, the phones synced up. So we would each get the Pokemons. But he's driving, so I got to be like, pull over, stop. So I'll get his, and then I'll get mine. But then it was where I was only getting his, and I was missing mine. And finally I went, well, I got to get a couple for me. So then I would get me first, and then he's getting mad, going, you're not catching Pokemon for me.
oh my God, that's gonna be a court case soon.
It was so funny.
Being the
And
people's court.
yeah, exactly. So now it'll be when we're both gone, we'll come home and tell each other, oh, I got 6 today. And I'm like, damn it, I didn't leave the house.
My wife hates it already. I mean, she didn't realize how annoying it is. She thinks she's probably right. I'm on social media too much anyway, you know, between promoting and begging people to be on the show and whatnot. So, we went to eat somewhere near here in Mill Valley. It was oh, there you go. Okay, I think, the guy, everybody at the table, we didn't know each other, but it was like a picnic style table. Every guy there was talking to his date, trying to explain to her Pokemon Go.
Oh my god.
One guy was like 60 years old. The other guy is like a, younger 20 something. And she's like, what are they all doing? I said, you thought it was just me. It's everybody here and somebody told me the older guy was looking at it purely from marketing. He said that a pizzeria in his neighborhood hired a person that works there, but didn't hire somebody. They told like one of the pizza kids, listen, you light an incense every 30 minutes. They'll pay for them. They bought the coins, bought a bunch of incense, and then it just draws all these kids to the pizzeria.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so because you're getting people, sure, not everybody's going to come in and buy, but plenty of the people that are going to walk into that door, you're going to convert into a customer. I think it's brilliant. And it gives them a safe place to go as opposed to trying to go to a church in the middle of the night, going to the fountain in the center of their property. Like, that is crazy to me. And I saw it happen because we were parked outside. I'm like, I'm not getting out of the car. I'm not going. And my dude's like, why not? And I go, you don't understand. The neighbors around, they're going to start getting mad and calling the police. And sure enough, I'm a member of like my local neighborhood group on Facebook.
Oh.
And this guy posts, there's someone driving down my street 5 miles an hour with his lights off. And I posted, he's probably just looking for Pokemon. And all my neighbors are laughing because we know it's true.
Well, the police department, I don't know what state it was in, they posted, please stop going into our back parking lot.
Yes.
Just ask us and we'll let you in through the front door to go look for Pokemon.
That is great. Meanwhile, they're doing facial recognition on everyone who walks through the door.
Them. Oh, hey, it works.
Catch them all.
Catch them all.
Prisoners too.
Yeah, we'll catch them all while you catch them all. NYPD put out a tweet about that because they show a driver with a Pikachu or something, and he's like, "Don't drive and catch them all."
Yes.
I mean, I do it on the bus on the way to work.
That's brilliant.
I get miles, because I'm cheating, and then
Yes.
but the hard part is, when those Poke stops, I think it is.
Yes.
I have to time it so that it'll pass right by, and then I can't spin it or whatever.
Because you're too far away.
Too far away. I've got it down to a science now. I know exactly when to do it. But that's why I caught a Pikachu. I was like, this is the greatest moment of my life.
Yes.
My wife's like, what about when you met me? It's like, that too, honey. But look at this Pikachu. I
got Pikachu.
He just popped out of nowhere, like right before, but I was still on the bus, and I was like, holy shit, I'm going to move past him before. Because once you start trying to catch them, they usually don't run away or disappear.
Right.
But I was flipping out. I was almost, I don't know if you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, but.
Of course.
Okay, it was like the opening scene in the diner when the girl jumps up on the table.
Oh my God.
I was like, no, none of you pricks, move! So I was trying to catch it. It's like, or I'll execute every fucking ass money.
Oh my God.
Stood up and I'm like flicking away. I thought I was going to run it because he was like, forget it. He was taking balls to the face like Vanessa Del Rio. It was amazing.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
Yeah, I was like, what does it take?
Yeah, I had a Charmander do that to me, and I was like, why? Oh.
I mean, it's always the crappy ones that do it to me. They escape, I give them a berry, and they still escape. And then they just, like a cloud of smoke, they fart on you and they run off. I never played Pokemon before this, so I don't know which ones are, except for Pikachu, I don't know which ones are a big deal.
That's funny. See, I watched the show, and, while I didn't necessarily play the card game, I know of all the cards because all my friends played. So I will tell you, I would buy cards to have them, but I never actually would battle people because I was just too cool for that.
It's like Magic the Gathering back then.
Yeah, exactly. But now that's cool. And playing Dungeons and Dragons, that's cool too.
I remember that from when I was a kid. I didn't understand what was going on, the Dungeon Master and everything.
Right.
My brother's friends were playing it one day, and I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? Now the fact that people still play it, just goes to show you.
All those nerds just got older, and we have money now, so we can afford it.
Or afford it, yeah. Because I was in a store, and it's like a gaming store, but I took it wrong. I was like, oh, game. I went in, it was like board games and strategy games.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and in the back, they had a table full of guys, 20-somethings, and they were freaking playing Dungeons and Dragons and
yeah.
I was like, well, I guess those games will never go out because they're cards, they're never
exactly. There's this awesome comic book store called Hypno Comics in Ventura, in the Oxnard area. And I won an Injustice tournament there. It was so great. It was so great. I beat every single dude in that place with Aquaman. It was awesome. But in the back room where we were playing, it's all board games back there, and they have a bunch that you can actually go and sit and play for hours in the back of this awesome comic book shop. They're really cool. Like I think they like giving kids, teenagers, young adults, a place to hang out, that's safe. And, there aren't a lot of places to go to as a youth anymore. A lot of those after school programs have changed and shut down. So to see places like that kind of give space for that kind of activity, it's socializing. I think it's a really good thing.
Does it freak out your stepson that you could whoop his ass in video games? Or
they love it. We have conversations, and what's funny is every single time, they're older now. He's 2 weeks away from being 18, and that's my youngest. So all of his friends, they're all adults. Every time they come over, I'm in my living room playing a video game, and they always stop at the door and watch me play to see, well, what are you playing right now? Oh, what's that? Oh, I love this game, And so it's really cool. It gives me a way to, bond with them and have a great relationship with them. And plus, if there's video games coming out, everybody talks to me and gets my opinion first. And that's
All right.
awesome. Yeah.
That is cool. Because, I mean, we would mention it briefly earlier. You run, was it pwnedbygirls.com? That was in 2011, right? September 20th.
Yeah.
So what is it, like if I were to go look at it, I mean, I have, but if our listeners were to go look at it today, what would they find?
Oh, there's so many different things. You're always going to find links to my live shows. Every Wednesday, I live stream for a company called vidfall.com. And for them, I play indie games, which is great because they're games that a lot of people wouldn't normally know about. They don't get that mainstream publicity, but they're so much fun. So they're all independent developers. And I'll do that on Wednesdays. On other days, you'll find me playing more of the console mainstream games like Overwatch or Fallout or maybe some Assassin's Creed or, Gears of War. The games that I play vary so much. It's sad. I don't play a lot of sports games anymore. Like my favorite sport games, they're the retro games. It's Tecmo Bowl, it's the old MLB games.
Mm-hmm.
The new stuff is so complicated.
Oh, yeah. You took the word right out of my mouth.
And they're so sports driven that it doesn't make sense for me because I'm not really that big of a sports fan.
If I'm not playing the sport, like back then if I played, I was, baseball, football, whatever, then I would play the game. But now I don't. So I'm just lazy. And I'm like, I cannot sit through this shit anymore. Except for like a fighting game, like a UFC game or something.
Oh, those all day. Boxing, fighting, Mortal Kombat, of course, Injustice
like those
my
2K,
favorite.
yeah, the WWE, like 2K. I love those.
Definitely.
Those are my fantasy games come true. When I was little, I had Nintendo Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
It was just, the side to side. It made it look like you were in a ring, but it was side to side. And I could play that shit for hours on end. And your guy had 3 moves, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. A punch, a kick, and maybe a body slam or
like
a throwing move.
Special move or something. And
yep.
I used to fantasize, I was like, imagine if it was 3-dimensional. And I was like, that'll never happen.
Right.
So when I saw those Japanese games, I was like, holy shit, I have to move to Japan. But I couldn't. So and now, it's like, and even then, it's like, I try to play it online. And I want to get back to your site, but it's like kids online are just little assholes. It's so hard to play with them.
That's why I don't play Halo. People are like, oh, nope, because I can't stand the people that I'm in the online games with. And yes, you can mute them, but they play like shit.
They do. They're little pricks. They don't even. I mean, I thought there was no way to cheat at a wrestling game, but there is, because they have they're like canned moves, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
Where if you're laying on your back, you just press one button, and like The Rock will give you the people's elbow, and it takes like 30 seconds to happen.
Right.
And the little fucker, as soon as it's over, he just hits it again. So he gives you like 7 in a row, and it's like, I can't even get up. You're just
nope. You're totally locked.
Yeah,
it's funny because I loved the wrestling games because you could match up opposites for your tag teams. That's like the best. You could pick different wrestlers that maybe weren't linked up and make your own tag team duo. Like that was my favorite part. I'd put people together that hated each other.
Oh, yeah. No, it's fun. I mean, and it's almost getting as complicated, like you said, about like football, and I mean, it's almost a simulation. Everybody's like, yeah, wrestling's not real, but I mean, but in the end, you don't watch ER. ER shows you how freaking old I am. You don't watch, I don't even know what's on, Game of Thrones, and say that's fake. Like you watch it to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's all fantasy.
Yeah,
and
it drives my
while wrestling might be fake, those guys are working their asses off. It's still dangerous. It's still very athletic. It's hard work. I've done a bunch of cheesy, awesome little wrestling. I've done stuff with XPW, and I had a brief moment with ECW.
Go ahead. Oh, awesome. All right. I was going to say, do you know Kevin Kleinrock?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
yes.
He's helping me because we produce a program for Conan from WCW called
cool.
Called Podcast Boom, and it's like geared at his Mexican audience. And
nice.
Kevin does, Mass Republic, and he's one of the people that I contact back and forth, to make sure the podcast is posted like everywhere that he can post it. It's only been about a month or 2, but that's really because he used to work on XPW.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I know who he is.
Oh, cool.
It's a small world. Yeah, I used to be
crazy.
contract with the company that started that. Rob Black from Extreme Associates. So I was a contract girl when XPW started, and that was kind of my first introduction to being in wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan my entire life. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
I used to watch back in the day, and everyone will go, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan before he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But for me, my favorite was like Jake the Snake and
Yeah.
Junkyard Dog, you know, old stuff. So again, being a part of anything like that as an adult, absolutely insane for me. A lot of really incredible opportunities. Wow. I guess that's something I leave off the resume that I
Yeah, you
forget.
should. I mean, that's a whole other audience you could tap in on if you ever run out of video game ideas.
Yeah, Trina Michaels and I used to work together
Okay.
before she left the industry to follow our wrestling roots. And I remember having so much admiration for her. I was afraid. I could have found the same kind of career in wrestling outside of porn because I was good at it. I had the mouth, I had the attitude, I was very physical. But once I got my implants, I was so afraid of
Yeah,
breaking a
rupturing.
boob.
It happens. It happened to Gail Kim and
Yes.
Mickey James. Had it
So
happen.
I stopped wrestling, you know, and do I ever think what if? Nah, because I'm really happy in the past that my life is gone. So with Poem by Girls, you know, it's the live streaming. It's me being at events. There's pictures from every Comic Con I've ever been to. I do cosplay. I do video game reviews. Some are videos, some are written. So there is so much stuff on the website that I'm super proud of, and I do it all. I'm the founder. It was my idea, you know, coming up with it and going to a fellow girlfriend of mine who was a nerd and saying, hey, do you want to do this with me? And then that lasted about one show. And you know, she split to do her other thing because it did so well. And so, these days, you know, I do all of it. I record my own videos. I record my own video game captures. I do all of the editing. I update the site. I maintain it. I'm a one-woman show when it comes to Poem by Girls. So I'm super proud of that because it's my baby, you know?
Wow. So how many hours a week do you think you dedicate to that?
Ooh, you know, given it can vary. Sometimes it can be 5 to 10 hours a week. Sometimes it's 30. It depends on, you know, like this coming week is going to be insane. I've got San Diego Comic Con. I'm going to be up there 5 days. The whole time I'm there, I'm taking pictures. I'm putting together the story of whatever it's going to be. I tell every detail of my trip, you know, to my fans so that they can really feel like they're a part of it. So it's going to be crazy next week. I'm really excited. And then I have to come home and put it all on the site.
Yeah, I can imagine. But I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping, I don't know when the tickets go on sale for next year, but one way or another, I'll get there. I know Conan and Kevin are going to be there on Wednesday to promote like luchashop.com and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll get some updates from them on that. Conan, you know, he goes to so many conventions, he doesn't care. Just the fact that I talk to him on a regular basis like melts my brain as a wrestling fan, but I try
Isn't
not
that
to let
funny?
it show too much. You know.
Exactly. There's a wrestler, and you know, I won't name his name, but we've been friends for years. And every time I go to a con, he always comes to see me to say hi. We're just friends. It's totally platonic. There's, you know, I've never hooked up with him or anything. And he's a huge wrestler from the WWE. And this last year in Vegas, and in fact, if you go through my Twitter page, Alana Evans XXX, or you can go to my Instagram, which is the same, you'll see pictures of me and this wrestler. So you'll know who I'm talking about. It was funny because we're hanging out with some friends, and he was going to help a mutual friend of ours get back to their hotel. But she was just a hot mess. And he calls me and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna bring her back. Cause I want you to take care of her cause she's not feeling well. And, you know, it's just, you know, this isn't my scene kind of thing. So when he brings my friend back to me, I'm like, oh, dude, thanks. Wow, girl, what'd you do? You know, he's like, hey, I'm tagging you in. And he puts his hand up in the air and he tags me in. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I looked at him and I go, does that mean I'm your tag team partner right now? And he's like, yep. And I just, my whole life was made in that one moment from the dumbest little interaction. But I was just
Yeah.
like, dude, that's cool.
You got the hot tag, as they call it.
Yeah, it was badass. There was
Wow.
magically a ring there. I swear I saw it in my mind.
In your mind. That's so cool. Let me see. I had some questions. I know. Oh, here they are. Okay. So I don't want to get too negative with it, but like you said, the kids online are a little, not all of them, because I know we have some fans out there, but
Yes.
some of they're just like, everybody's brave behind the mic or behind the internet.
Definitely.
So how do you block out? I know there got to be trolls out there whenever you do your like Twitches or your
Right.
vidfall.
Yeah.
And so how do you deal with those?
It's funny. If it's not during a live stream and I'm just playing a game with them, revenge. That's how I deal with them. I will kill them. Like, if someone's messing with me or they're talking a bunch of shit, I will absolutely seek them out and they become my target. And so for me, it becomes this like Battlefront, best Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I
Love
have
this
that.
game. Yeah, so I play in the online against the other people, and I might have one dude who seems to just keep popping up and messing with me, and I just get frustrated. It's like, that's it. You're the one I'm looking for. I will pass by everyone else to get to you so you feel the heat. Because sometimes when guys see that I'm a girl or they see my gamer tag Super Pink Ninja, they automatically start talking shit. So their death is my best revenge. Truly. And during streams, I'll get guys who want to be funny or talk smack. They'll keep watching and they see that I can play. A lot of the times they shut up. I also have auto words that will get them banned. Thankfully,
Oh, good.
Twitch offers that. So if you say slut or, whore or other things that really shouldn't be said during my stream, you're automatically muted.
Oh,
So
great. That's good.
yeah, and I have no problem if someone is just too much, I'll mute them, I'll block them. It was crazy. I was playing a game once and I saw the guy that I was playing with on my team who sucked. He was terrible. Send me a message and I'm like, well, I'm in the middle of the game right now. I'm not going to go listen to the dude's message. I'll listen to it after. And we kept playing. And, I end up at the top with more kills than anybody else. And, I listened to the message after. The dude was totally talking shit to me. And I was like, are you serious? Yeah, you're not thinking that right now, you punk.
Wow.
But my favorite part is like with Overwatch, you've got your kill count, you've got your objective kills, and then it'll play the play of the game.
Yeah, I like that.
I love it. And I get that a lot. So I make sure I've always got my phone ready because I don't know. And I'll totally, it's me this time. Boom, catch it on video. And then it'll show my medals. A lot of the times I've got 4 gold medals in a row. And my highest kill count for Overwatch is 49 kills.
See, I thought I got like
I'm
20
awesome.
once because I use I don't get to play it that much. So I'm always, I guess they match you up by ranking or level, I guess, and my level's not high at all. So, but when I do play, I'm usually Bastion, and I'll just run into whatever area you're supposed to be protecting.
Yes.
Like I'm like, please start on defense. I'm telling myself, and then I just sit myself in a corner and just mow everybody down. But
yes.
But I never get any votes. I'm like, I guess people are just bitter that I'm killing them.
They are bitter.
Yeah,
They're totally bitter.
But I'll get to play the game if when he turns into like the rolling tank version.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I feel so good when I get to kill him. I'm like, oh yeah, you think you're tough with your turret. You're dead.
Yeah.
Of course, Diva is my favorite. I absolutely adore her.
Which one is she? She the sniper?
She's the hot little Asian chick who has the pink robotic suit that she walks in. She is amazing.
Yeah, she has the mech suit.
Yeah, exactly. And I also play, I think his name is like Reinhardt. He's the
hammer?
Yes, the hammer, but the shield is cool. So I'll use him to rack up defensive points.
I read they're going to level off, or I forgot the word they used for it. One of the characters, I think he's like the little like dwarf-looking guy.
Yes, that guy's creepy.
Yeah, but he's like too cheesy. He's like too. They're gonna level him off so he's not so easy to use or something like that.
Oh yeah, he looks like a little gnome.
Yeah, he looks like a little gnome guy, but I've never used him before, so I don't even know what he does. I think he builds turrets, and they're just like flat out too strong. The ones that he builds. So they're going to. I forgot the word they use for it, but when they're gonna level him down and match him up so that he's not so overpowered.
That makes sense.
So it's like they just gave an advertisement maybe to start using him until they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not on the PC version. I think if you're on the PC, you're stuck. He's still gonna.
Oh.
Because I had both. I gave my little brother my Xbox One before I moved because there just weren't that many. Like he loves Gears of War, so
I love Gears of War.
I know you're a big fan too. So
Huge.
he plays it. I never really got into it. I played the first one, and then and he likes Halo. Same thing. I didn't really play Halo, so I was like, all right, you take this because otherwise it just sits here. But then you can't. I don't think you can play anything cross-platform yet. Maybe over.
Not yet. They're doing you can, that's actually a really good point. They've talked about being able to do it in the future, but they haven't done it. Most of us are just happy that they're finally getting to backwards compatibility and being able to play some of the older games. It's funny because I am such a Gears of War nerd that when I go to cons, if there's people there that I like, I will seek them out. And I was at the Ventura Comic Con, which is known as C4. And the guy that does the voice of Coltrane was there. What the hell is his name? I've got his picture autographed in my living room, and he's a really funny black guy, big dude. Used to do all of like the football commercials for Terry Crews and stuff like that. And so Spinks, I want to say it's Leonard Spinks, something like that.
Let's take a look at that.
Anyhow, I met him, and he was great. Got a picture with him. And then I was at Kinko's by my house. And I'm doing some work on one of the computers. And I'm with my stepson. And I see this big, giant black man come and sit down next to me. I'm like, wow, this guy looks really familiar. He's an actor. He's something. And I live right next to Calabasas. Like, the Kardashians are my neighbors. So it's not a big deal. There's a lot of celebrities around here. But then I heard him talking on the phone, and I heard his voice. And because of my numerous years of radio, I'm a total audiophile. Like, I pick up on sounds, and I can tell whose voices are who on commercials and stuff like that. It was Coltrane.
Yeah, it's Lester Spate.
Spate. That's what it is. Thank you. I'm totally destroying the poor guy's name. So he gets off the phone, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't mean to bother you. But are you Coltrane, right? And he looked at me and goes, what? He goes, why do you say that? I'm like, dude, because I know your voice. I've actually met you at a show. I know it's you. And he laughed. And then told me a couple things, hinted about, Gears of War 4 coming at the time and hadn't been mentioned. And I'm like, oh, I'm not telling anybody. You're awesome. And then, when I go to a lot of these cons, I'm volunteering with a group called the Hollywood Sci-Fi Museum.
Oh, okay.
And you can go to the website, hollywoodscifimuseum.com. We're going to be a massive museum with cars and props and sets from like all your favorite science fiction TV shows and movies. I could give you the pitch all day. Oh, but so at Comic-Con last year, we had, Bender from Futurama.
Oh, Bender's awesome.
John DiMaggio. He's awesome. And he's sitting at the desk, and I'm, I love Futurama, and I'm like, the guy's great, and I'm helping him. I'm kind of doing stuff to make sure that, like, he's happy and taken care of. And he's got all of his 8x10s laid out. And I'm standing there, and I'm just kind of, seeing fairies, as we call it when my kids space off. I was spacing off, and I see on the table there's a picture of Marcus Phoenix and a Gears of War thing. And I looked at him, and I am such a Gears of War freak. I go, wait, are you Marcus Phoenix? And he lit up because it's not me saying, oh, you're Bender or you're this guy. Dude, you're Marcus Phoenix. And then, oh my God, total chick. I'm creaming in my panties. He starts doing the voice, and then he goes into the whole speech. So if you're a Gears of War player, you know what it sounds like when Marcus starts talking to you, and he's like, okay, Dom, you're coming with me. So he goes, hey, we're going to go south and left and hit the left point. Alana, you're coming with me. And I just went, oh my God, I love you.
Great.
It made my whole life. I've met a lot of celebrities, but the people that do the voices in the video games that I love, I get more excited over them. Well, except for Crixus from Spartacus. Yeah,
Okay.
I was a sweaty girl fan with him, like a total nerd, and I embarrassed myself, but I don't care.
Yeah,
We're fangirls too,
I was
so
gonna say they must get a kick though. I mean, when somebody recognizes you for something besides a movie or a popular, I mean, not that Gears
yes,
of War isn't popular, but because I was seeing his name when I was looking over for Spate, and I was like, all right, DiMaggio, that's what she's talking about now. I didn't even know he was Bender. I just knew him as, I knew it in reverse. I only knew he was
yeah,
Phoenix. I didn't know he was Bender. They
absolutely.
don't
It's
even
cool.
remotely sound alike. So it's like, how do you do that?
No, he is great. And because of my work with the Sci-Fi Museum, we've had a lot of the cast members from Futurama come. So I've got to work with Billy West, who is
It's like every voice on that show.
he's basically every voice, but he's also the brain from Pinky and the Brain,
Oh
which
wow. Okay.
I'm a huge fan of that show.
Me too.
My mouse is named, Pinky and the Brain. That was their names. And then he's also he's the red M&M,
Oh okay.
which is totally awesome. And then there's another one that he does that I totally. Oh, and then of course the damn it. Another guy from Futurama was there, and he does like the doctor's voices, and it's funny because his name just totally flew out of my mind. He's amazing, but he was also the black FedEx guy from Mad TV.
Oh,
Remember that
okay. Yeah,
character?
I
Like
do.
super excited, always like running
Yeah.
in space kind of thing. Yeah.
Wow. I love Futurama. I mean, I'm not like a fan like every episode one after another, but if it's on, I won't change a channel.
Yes.
One of those deals. I love the professor. I guess I can't remember his last name. And
Yeah,
he has
that's
that. He has the rival that, and there's one time Cornelius of all the guys I remember, and he was on the video phone with him. And he's like, hang up on him in the most degrading way possible. And he hangs up on him. He's like, not the crack slam. And he uses his ass cheeks to hang up the phone. It's like, that is the greatest thing ever.
yes,
A crack slam. I tell that to people. They don't know what I'm
absolutely.
talking about. But I'm like, you can't do it with a touch phone. I guess you could. Hang up on your ass.
Yeah, no, that would be a little difficult.
But
I mean, I could find a way.
I'm sure you could. You could probably charge people to watch do it too. I was going
I
to say,
probably could.
yeah. And I don't even mean that facetiously. I mean, there were people that would pay to watch that. But
Yes.
out in, you just said I know you said it when you first brought it up, the Science Fiction Museum?
Yes.
Where is
The
that?
Hollywood. Oh, awesome. So it's the Hollywood Sci-Fi Museum. And basically right now they are touring all of the cons. So when we go to a show, we've got our booth. We've got the bridge from Star Trek. Why is this? We've got the bridge from Star Trek The Next Generation. He's got the captain's chair from Star Trek. We've got a TARDIS from Doctor Who, and then all kinds of other different awesome things from like Alien and stuff like that. So right now, when we go to the cons, people can get their pictures taken with all of these different things. The museum itself is being built near Universal Studios. That's going to be the permanent fixture. But until then, they had to set up warehouse space because there's millions and millions and millions of dollars in props that are being sent from Universal and Paramount, and all these amazing companies are, contributing props and sets to the museum. So if you go to the website, there will be a soft launch date for the museum space. They've decided to open up the warehouse and set things up so that people can come through and check everything out before the museum is finally finished.
Oh, very cool.
I'm really excited about it.
That's Universal Studios in Florida?
No, in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
And it won't be a part of it. It's going to be its own entity, but in the same area. So it'll be near, Universal City here.
Okay, so I'll have to go. I've only been to, since I moved out here, I went to Disneyland. I always get them wrong, but that's about it. We have, for my job, I have an office in LA that I have to visit every quarter, so I can make an excuse to go over there.
Yeah, they've got the whole Star Wars land now and all that good stuff.
But I'll definitely check out that museum because that's right up my alley. I love stuff like that. I just amazing. Had something in my head and it just jumped right out of my brain. It's going to drive me crazy. Crap. All right. Well, I mean, I'll go to the basic ones until it climbs back in. But back to the video game world. What are you said you're playing Overwatch now. You operate
Yes.
mostly on an Xbox, or do you have both?
I have both. Well, I play on my Xbox One. I still have my 360. I play on my PS4, and then I also play on my PC. So I play games off of Steam and stuff like that.
Can you play with a keyboard? Because I cannot play with.
I'm the worst. I
Okay.
suck so bad at a keyboard, but a little techie trick. Now they've got the Steam controllers, so you can spend 40 or $50 and get it from them. Or if you're playing off of a PC, you can actually get an old Xbox
Right.
controller
That's
that
what I
has
used to
the
do.
adapter. So
Yeah.
that's what I use. Yeah, it's a $20 fix. You can buy them used. You just have to make sure it's got, the port at the end of it,
Mhm.
and you're set. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, I used to just get the Xbox controller from GameStop,
Yep.
I just plug and play, and it used to work fine.
Exactly. You don't have to download any drivers or anything. It works
But
great.
supposedly they claim, I guess because they've been doing it forever, but like a keyboard and mouse, like first-person shooter player, is faster. Like I
It's
don't
the
know how.
worst though. It's so difficult, and I'm just not good. My friends that I'm about to, move into their amazing tech house. We're gonna just have a whole gamer pad together. He's got the full on system, and he's got the weird keyboard setup for the left hand that does
Yeah, I used to have one of
the up
those.
down the yeah.
Yeah.
It's too much for me. I tried to do a stream on his computer. My dumbass. I don't know how his mouse works, and it stopped working, and I had no idea it's because the battery was dead.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Not used to that. My mouse plugs and plays.
yeah, I
So
have one like one of those Razer Naga mice or whatever you want to call it.
exactly.
But the one I have now is the wireless, and I have the USB little port. But
Right.
I just don't know how it's either too fast for me or I just can't move around. I just suck at first. I play Overwatch, but I mean, everybody just flies around me. I get hit in the back
Yeah.
so many times. I don't know what's going
Aw.
on. Or it's like I didn't even know you could punch people to kill them in that game, but apparently you can.
Yes.
Because people just run up and whack me right in the face.
Oh,
What is
right in
going
the
on?
throat.
Yeah, not very good. I don't
That's
talk.
rough.
I don't even turn the mic on because I know I can't talk trash. But I
Aw.
thought I was good at Street Fighter until my wife's friend's or husband came over and was hitting me with these combinations I didn't even know existed. And I was like, when do you have time to figure out how to even do this shit?
He's
It's like,
probably a ringer, He
Prob-
plays for money.
probably does, yeah. I said, how are you even, like, he would just do it and drop the controller and the stuff's still going on. I was like, what the hell are you doing?
Aw.
Yeah, I have to bring you places and just bet money on you.
Damn.
Yeah, no, he was great. But I mean, there's always a bigger fish, as they say. I watched a tournament in the New York Comic Con, and it was for like StarCraft or something.
Yes. StarCraft and Star Fox 2 are super competitive games.
Yeah, and I think because I was, doing some research, and I remember there was a guy that died playing that. I
Because he
think.
didn't get up from his seat.
Yeah, I think he had blood
Yep.
clots or something, and
It happens a lot in Korea
hmm.
because they go to these computer, it's a coffee house that's all computers set up. I can't think of what they're called. Internet cafe. That's what they are. And they will play the online games there for 40 hours at a time. They won't get up to go to the
Wow.
bathroom, things like that, and their body functions will shut down. I've actually read stories about it because it was becoming a thing. Because you can't pause it when you're in an MMO. You have to log out, and a lot of people didn't want to. And that's when, games like WoW are so popular. They're just submerged.
Yeah, because the game's going on without you if you're not
Yes.
playing. A friend of ours, she's like that too. She was just a Warcraft fanatic just for the loot and everything. But I said I
Yeah.
couldn't. I jumped in too late. I think now they skip you to level 50 if you just start now. But
Oh, wow, because everybody else is
yeah,
like level
everybody's
99.
everybody's so far ahead of you. I'm there getting killed by like a rat or something, and people
Aw.
running around, burning around. Like, why are you on fire or something like that? They're just
Yeah.
so super awesome compared to me. So that's what I guess an old school gamer, it's like I didn't catch up on was the online. I didn't take into account how quickly all these people jump on, start playing
Right.
nonstop, and then they're like level 50 already, and I'm just
Yeah.
starting. I'm like,
Well,
what the?
for me, the first game I ever played that had an online action to it was GoldenEye. Was, the
Nintendo
old James,
64.
yeah, or I think it was the one where you could play with your friends and have a multiplayer
Yeah,
game
the split screen.
was Xbox.
Hmm.
When it went to Xbox.
Oh, okay.
And that was awesome. Being able to play with 3 of your other friends that weren't at your house, like that was a big deal.
It was. I mean, I played Borderlands with my little brother.
I love it.
Oh, that's the best
Borderlands
game
is
ever.
awesome.
Yeah, the original had so many little Easter eggs in it.
Yes.
I don't think the younger crowd even realized.
Oh, that's
Like
funny.
Akira and Godzilla and all that. But
Right.
I was on one end of the apartment. That's how long our apartment was. My little brother was all the way at the end of it, and we would play online with each other.
Oh, that's cool.
I would just stick my head out the doorway and like, I'm gonna do this instead of talking over the microphone.
That's funny.
But that was the only one I ever played because the internet connection it just wasn't good enough where I was. So if I tried to
Right.
play now, I don't know if people are still playing it. I'd love to go and play it now.
It's probably like 56K
Yeah,
dial up.
something. Who knows?
Yep.
Because I mean, you get the best weapons when you play with more people.
Yes, exactly.
And I just wasn't playing with any. Once in a blue moon, I would, and somebody would drop something. But other than that, I was like, I'd love to play this with a group. So I'm hoping they make a 3.
Right.
Play on PS4. But I won't keep you too much longer because I know we're going on a little long. But so you're playing. I played Dark Souls 3.
I love Dark Souls.
Okay. Yeah. I just finished it the first time around, and I'm like trying to play again. But there's just too many other games. Like I play Overwatch, Witcher 3. I'm finishing the.
Huge Witcher fan.
that
I
game is awesome.
cosplay as Siri.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, if you go to PwnByGirls.com and look under my cosplay section, you'll see the pictures. I made that entire costume. Obviously, the only things I didn't make that I'm wearing are I can't make a corset and I can't make boots, but I made everything else. I love it.
That's such a good game. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's sexy. And I mean, they have sex on a freaking unicorn, man.
I was like, I hope my wife doesn't walk in during this scene.
For me, it was like, I don't want my kids to come in here while I'm playing because they're like, older. So this would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like, what is this? It's a game. No, it's not. It's like, how do you even explain it? It's like, I'd rather get caught chasing a Pikachu than get caught with, Geralt a chick on a unicorn right now.
Totally. Him and Triss, getting it on.
And I was a total whore playing that game. I didn't miss any of those chances. I think.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I nailed everything that he could possibly.
All the prostitutes. That's right.
It looks like right now I'm in the Blood and Wine expansion, and I don't know if it's the Queen or something. And he already looked at her, like in one of the little cutscenes in the beginning, like checking out. I'm like, uh-oh, he's gonna nail this one too. Yeah, this is gonna happen too. But I'm just too caught up behind between that, like Dark Souls, Overwatch, and what else?
I'm still playing Fallout 4.
Oh yeah, there you go. Fallout 4. I didn't get the expansion, the actual game expansion pack. I didn't get yet.
I played it on PS4 and basically finished it. And I'm such, I love games on PS4, but I don't care for trophies. That's not important. But on my Xbox, I'm all about achievement points.
Yeah, they manage it better, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, like then you've got bragging rights. Like I once had a chick totally try to talk shit to me and tell me I was a lame gamer and she played more than I did and she was better. And then I found her profile online. My gamer score was more than triple hers, and I laughed. And I'm like, those are my bragging points right there, homie.
I mean, I don't even know what's considered a high. I mean, I had a decent amount, but I gave the thing over to my little brother, so I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, some guys are like, I have a couple friends in my list, and they're pros, and they're at like 200,000.
Oh wow!
I'm happy at my 33,000. Like I'm proud of that.
Yeah. I think I was maybe the 20s, but that was because I played, all those like Grand Theft Autos, and there's just so much stuff to get into Fallout like 3 and 4 and Skyrim. Yeah. I was kind of bummed they didn't announce a new Skyrim at the show that just passed. But
I know. I think they're really just kind of focused on the whole Elder Scrolls action that they've got. I'm a Skyrim fan too, and I love Bethesda.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I hadn't played a lot of the Fallout games, but had started playing Skyrim, and I played the other Elder Scrolls prior to that. And
I started with Morrowind. That was the first one I played on Xbox. And back then, you could make your own spells. So I had made one like a walk on the air. So I was like walking in the sky from place to place.
How cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But my friend told me about that game, and this was, 10 years ago. And I bought the thick ass guide, the Prima guide,
Yeah.
and we would bring it to work. And when we were supposed to be watching people on security cameras, we were reading the Morrowind guide.
Ha ha.
But yeah, hopefully my bosses don't listen to it. I still work for this.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
But back then, like you said, early on, like we used to actually read stuff, or there were
Yes.
no kids today don't know the struggle. There were no
No.
websites to tell you how to figure out. We have a guest like friends of the show, CarterMatt.com. They do TV and movie
Nice.
reviews. And I was talking to Matt side of it, Matt Carter, and he was saying Mega Man 1 was probably one of the worst packaged games of all time. Like the cover looks like a normal dude.
Yeah.
And there's no instructions in the freaking thing. So
No.
I had no idea that Mega Man can use the other bad guy's powers
Oh, wow.
for like the first 3 weeks that I owned the game. So I'm here trying to kill. I could not kill Electric Man to save my life because you hit him and nothing would happen. I'm dodging. It turned out that when I killed him with one shot with the Cut Man thing or something, but I was able to dodge him for like 15 minutes trying to kill him.
Wow.
Like, this is the hardest game of all time.
At that point, you know you're doing something wrong because
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be that difficult.
I know, but I didn't have like Nintendo Power or anything like that. And so I was like, why is this so freaking hard? And then my friend said, yeah, I killed him with one hit. I was like, you are full of shit. He's like, no, you can go. And I was like, son of a bitch. I had, so that changed the world for me. I was like, but how the hell were you supposed to figure that out on your own?
Exactly. They want you to buy the books, and the books were expensive.
Mm-hmm. But so now with like Dark Souls, I'm playing it. It feels like the second day that it's out, and already people have found all this shit.
Yeah.
But they hire
they
guys.
get it first.
Yeah, they hire guys to write the guides and play the
Exactly. And as a reviewer, they get their codes first. They're forced to follow an embargo. So I've got people, when I'm lucky, will give me games before they're released, but I'm not allowed to put up videos or stories about it until their release date. And then that's why everyone's got all the footage ready and the secrets are instantly on because they've been playing it for 3 weeks.
That makes sense.
Sucks. Yeah.
It does. I mean, how do they even find like these little obscure items in Dark Souls? You got to play that game I don't know how many times just to know you're not doing something wrong because there's like the storylines, if you wouldn't even call them that. There's no hints for those things at all. I was like, wow.
No, this is definitely.
Like, oh, so-and-so's quest line. I'm like, what quest line? What are you talking about? I found a guy who looks like an onion, and like they say, Sigurd, you give him his armor back, but there's other ones that I wouldn't even know can happen.
Yeah, the thing about me is when I start a game, I can't switch over to another one. It's kind of like when I'm binge watching a show. I've got to just finish it. And then I can tackle the next one. But otherwise, they get distracted. Controls are different. And I play like shit if I'm not just focused.
I get that way with Fallout or any Bethesda game, and then just play the shit out of it, And I think I restarted it once. Well, no, I started it again to try to get a different ending. I play with a different, like I was a guy the first time, I'll play as a woman the next time.
Yes.
And but the woman character always ends up being the second one. I always end up doing better for some reason. Even with Dark Souls, whenever I'm like, this sucks and I'm just not leveling up quick enough, I'll start from scratch. I always pick a chick, and that always ends up being my final character.
That's funny.
And my wife's
Women are awesome.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. They're just like, my wife's like, why don't you just play as a girl all the time? Like, because leave me alone. That's why. I can't give you a reason. So... But I know the original Tomb Raider, before we wrap up, I guess, the original Tomb Raider, the creator or programmer, whatever, producer was called, he's like, why did you pick a woman, because that was a big deal, back then.
Oh, of course.
And he's like, if I'm going to sit there and play a game and stare at someone's ass, I want it to be a woman.
And she was sexy. She had big boobs. She had voluptuous lips, and everything that she did and her grunts and her moans. I'm a huge Lara Croft fan. I've been playing since the very first game.
Oh, yeah. I remember waiting for that game and reading, I forgot what the name of the magazine was back then. And you would just get these little trickling pictures and all that. And it was the first, like, 3D, totally... But then, like, Super Mario 64 came and blew that shit away as far as controls and everything. But at the time, it was that and Resident Evil and Final Fantasy VII. Those are the three reasons to own a PlayStation. And, I mean,
definitely.
They were adults. That was the first time I saw adults talking about playing video games.
True. Well, and a game like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, they're not made for kids.
Oh.
They're horror games, and those are two of my absolute all-time favorite video game franchises, especially Silent Hill.
See, Silent Hill is just too freaky for me. I tried playing that one, but I'm a big chicken. So.
See, again, it's so awesome for me. If you go to pwnedbygirls.com and you look under my cosplay, I actually made all by myself. I have so many crazy skills. It's insane. I made one of the nurses' costumes. So I created a plaster mask for the first time. I'd never done it before. I cannot believe how well it turned out. It is insane. So you definitely have to go take a look.
Oh,
It
for
will
sure.
scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the mind of the guys that came up with that game, but I think they made a movie out of it. I didn't see the movie.
Yes, they made a few movies, and the movies are so chilling. Just, oh.
Oh, yeah?
Triangle Head is gnarly. He is probably the scariest character for me, hands down, in any video game I've ever played. Even in the game Outlast, when you've got that big, gnarly, giant beast chasing you.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Triangle Head from Silent Hill is more scary than that guy.
I mean, I'm a chicken when it comes to video games, especially anything with to do with a spider. You know, and Dark Souls 3, spoiler alert, but I mean, everybody's played it by now, but there's this big-ass, hairy fucking tarantula thing in I think it's the Cathedral of the Deep.
Okay.
And there's a big open room. Nothing, I mean, there's something at the other end of it. You're like, oh, let me go grab that thing. And I was playing with someone else, when you summon someone to help you.
Yeah.
And he did the whole, gesture where you can hear him talking to you. He's like, hey! And I was like, why is he heying me? And then he, pointed at me and ran into the room instead. And as soon as he did, this freaking building-sized spider thing just jumped from the ceiling. I was like, thank God this guy did this, because I would have shit my pants while I was playing this game.
Oh,
and it doesn't even make it out of
the...
It's just there purely to... And then it comes again later, and, there's a level called Anne Orlando or something.
Yeah.
And again, it just appears out of nowhere. I'm like, who the hell... Some evil bastard designed this, because there's no... He's not a boss. He's just there.
That's funny.
Just to mess with you.
In one of the last Silent Hill games, they have these porcelain mannequins, and there's one that breaks up into a spider, and it's got all of these multiple heads and arms and legs, and it is one of the scariest. And it was the same thing. Why can't I kill this thing? I'm doing something wrong. And I didn't realize you have to blow off all the porcelain armor on its body before you can kill it. Yeah, it took me probably 3 hours one night. I focused on it, said, fuck this, I'm done. I went to bed. I woke up the next day, probably researched something, and then figured it out and went, oh, I'm finally done.
Yeah. It takes all my willpower not to just look up the way to kill it. I hate that.
Totally. I want to figure it out first, but I will. I will go watch a video.
All right. This is going on, but and I don't mind it, but I could talk to you all day. But like I said, I want to save some for later. We'll hopefully get you back after your con season.
Yes, definitely.
I know Jessie wants to join in. She's very bummed out that she didn't get to join in this time. But
we can have a three-way.
Absolutely. We're going to have a three-way with Alana. That's how we're going to advertise this, actually, when it comes out. But
awesome.
So, we've mentioned it a few times before our lazy listeners that don't pay attention. We let everybody know where they could find you online.
My website is pwned, PWNED, pwnedbygirls.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Alana Evans XXX. And if you want to watch me play live, you can find it on Pwned by Girls. You can get me on Twitch TV, and you can add me as a friend on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. My gamer tag is Super Pink Ninja.
Okay, I'll probably do that now on PS4.
Awesome.
You can destroy me at Overwatch if you ever sign on.
Yes.
But all right, well, thanks again. Like I said, we'll try to get you back soon. I know you're super busy, but we will try to book something for people listening to this one now and saying, hey, why didn't they send any questions? Jerks. Now you have another opportunity to ask Alana some questions next time she's on. Well, thanks again. And
thank you.
Oh, thank you. And we will catch everybody next time on the podcast about nothing. Bye-bye.